Oh, okay, yeah. So this is on the way up, of course. So this was after letting go of the payload and grabbing my camera. Oh wait, no, no, these are ones I got of a Weather Service radio sign. Disregard. So yeah, again, shooting from a mile away from the Weather Service office, I can get pictures like this now and again. So that's one of theirs. That's not mine. Okay. I think this is mine. Yeah. Yeah. So this is at about probably 5,000 or 6,000 AGL, I suppose. And again, really zoomed. I can't make it go forward. Yeah, they all look about the same. So yeah, so so that's pretty much it for that. I have, let me see, I only quickly perused my still photos. I didn't see anything terribly awesome in there. I shot raw photos for once, and hopefully I can edit out the haze on those.
Hey, Mark,
Yeah.
on the radio sound this morning, the APRS FI had a really nice track of the Omaha flight for radio sound.
Oh, really? Huh.
And I was wondering how it.
That's odd because it wasn't me.
Yeah, I was wondering, do you have other people in Omaha that that uploads that to FI?
I don't know of any, but the local weather service folks, when I started doing this, have been really cool about sharing it on social media. And it sparked a lot of interest. So it wouldn't surprise me, I guess.
We upload the do I have it on? No. We upload the ozone sondes to the APRS FI whenever they fly here. And the vortex ones when they fly those. Sometimes you'll see 15 balloons over Alabama. That's the vortex.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's the Canon that I have with the Canon Hack Development Kit firmware. So these don't come out too bad, but the high altitude ones, really start to put some haze into things. There's a nice shot of the high school football field. Boy, that had to be expensive. Glad it's their taxes and not mine. Let's see here. Yeah. So another shot of trainer.
It's expensive to live in heaven.
Yeah, well, I know of several people who retired and moved to Iowa for lower property taxes than Nebraska, plus Iowa does not tax military retired pay. Nebraska still does, but they're making noise about changing that, mostly because they're losing population to Iowa. So, yeah, let's see. We had thunderstorms off to the south. I was hoping that maybe we could. Yeah, there's one. I think we had some to the north and some to the south, and I'm not sure which direction we're pointing here. This may be south. Can't tell what town that is there in the. I mean, that about have to be Omaha. Yeah. So yeah, another shot, decent shot of the thunderstorm. again, I'm hoping that with the raw files, I can get rid of a lot of this blue. There was somebody out in California that flew a DSLR, and he cleaned them up with Adobe Photoshop, something or other, and got really nice high altitude photos. Ones like this cleaned up to be near natural color. And I'm hoping I can.
That Raspberry Pi that I flew, it seemed to have a really good image on it. I just barely got to look at it on the laptop, but I was playing with different like white balance settings on it, and it was far better than I think I had an old Canon 530, 130, something like that. Something IS. And it has a lot of these hazy photos. And that Ras Pi that I shot today, it looks pretty sharp, a little bit that I've seen of it.
Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing those, because if you can get some good ones out of that, that's going to push me to fly a Pi here in the,
Is that
for
the
very
new
long.
Raspberry Pi camera or the old one?
What's that?
Is that the new Raspberry Pi camera with the high def and everything, or the old school?
It was intended to be, yes, but I accidentally bought an Arducam for about $30. So it's a 5 megapixel camera.
That's nice.
So it has a lens on it, but it's not the brand one that just came out.
Yeah, those RG cams are nice. I like those a lot better than the. They have the old sensor that Raspberry Pi used to use, and then they went to a newer sensor, and those stink. And then most recently, they've come out with an even better camera. That's, what is it, 40-ish bucks, something like that.
It's what?
So it's about $40, the newest one that Raspberry Pi come out with.
The newest one I think is 80 plus the lens. It's going to be about 120 or so, all decked out. This thing came out at I think it was $25 or $30 shipped, and it's a 5 megapixel. And so far, I'm really impressed with it. I shot it. I wasn't sure what kind of like white balance to use, so I shot about 12, 15 different. White balance, sharpness, different settings, and then I just rotated through that so I can kind of get a feel for what direction to go in the future.
Yeah, I'd really, once you get that, I'd be really interested in your results and what settings gave you the best, because I have an Arducam camera module sitting in my parts bin here, and shoot, I could put that on a. I've got a Pi 0W sitting here. It doesn't usually do a whole heck of a lot. And
hey, Mark.
Going.
Yeah. Wanted to interject here. Ted Tagami, KK6UUQ. He was flying UUQ-7 today, and it was on a silver foil miler, and it popped, came down in a field in Central California. He just texted me that he has gone and recovered it, got it back to Berkeley, and just relaunched it. I looked at the track a while ago, and I thought it was this old.
I was eyeballing it, Bill. Shame on me, man.
And I thought, oh man. So, anyways, Ted is on here. He has to leave. He has a couple of photos.
Okay, yeah.
I haven't downloaded them yet, Bill. I can share them with the group later. Just, hey, everybody. Yeah, I just wasted 8 hours of my day getting something that shouldn't have been got, right? So I was super excited about the launching with everybody, and I got out there. My son had another camera, and so we were doing the feed, and I just put too much in there. I was about 5 grams lift, and it got up to about 27,000 feet. So I'm coming back down, but it was like an hour away. So heck, I'm gonna go I'll do it again. I should have brought a tank with me, right? It was out in an open field. Some sloughs out there was in the Delta, so it's kind of a pain to get to, but it's like 97 degrees, so it wasn't too cool either. But I got it, brought it back, and Bill, you build great equipment. So I just got another Mylar, filled it up, launched it again. So that's why it looks really goofy on the map there. I wasn't going to be left behind. I wanted to be in the air before sunset. But
that's a great example of just getting back on the horse.
Yeah, exactly right. That's the best way to do it. I got all this practice launching the latex as you got to go out and get a hike. I said, that's short. That's a short distance. No problem. But I really want to get something going a little farther than that. That was kind of embarrassing. So there you go. Second lease in life.
share some photos with when you get them with the group. Are you on the GPS at groups.io link, right? Do you have that
I'm
link?
not. You put a link in there, I'll jump in. And I kind of have my head in the sand a little bit. I work mostly with the kids, and Bill mentors me through just amazing stuff. I imagine you guys have a lot of knowledge you can share with me too. But I work with kids around the world. You do most of our stuff is actually on the International Space Station. We run projects in orbit there, and then we scale it across the schools around the world. And I'm just trying to get a hanker on how to do these balloons. They're so much fun. Whether the little sky trackers or the big, put a couple kilos up there is always nice too.
So that's great. Well, we have an email list called GPSL at groups.io. If you sign up for that, then you'll see all the announcements and everything.
I'll do that, and I guess I can share some pics here. It's just me in a field saying, "Look, I got it," but and a video of a relaunch. So the relaunch is a little different location. It's blowing here in the Bay Area. I launched just out of Berkeley, and due east of the Golden Gate Bridge. So the afternoon, it's great for a sailor. Not too good and great for the kite flyers, but not too good for the balloon. So I got down in the lee of the hotel there, and just enough to get it up without it dragging across the ground. And it looks like it's doing okay. Hopefully it goes a couple days. It'll be down toward Louisiana, I guess, in about 3 days or so.
Great. Well, if you come back, if we're still going here, when you get back to the house and you have the pictures, chime in and show those.
I'll do that. Plus, I want to hear some stories too. I talk way too much. I want to listen a lot more, guys. I'll hang out in the background here for a couple more minutes, but I got to go get my wife. I'll be back.
We just added another success. I just moved your call sign from the ones that didn't float back to the potentially successful ones.
Well, slightly cheating there, but I figured it's like a pit stop.
It just did a bounce, curve, come back down, a touch and go. There you go. It was a touch and go.
That's exactly right.
Change the engine.
That was a refueling stop.
Exactly.
Well, good job, Ted. That's fantastic. I saw that. I says, oh, did it just take off again? What's going on here?
A little labor behind that one.
I can show my pictures real quick. I only have like a handful. There. Go for it. Okay.
And then Derek, when you're done, I've got a few to show also.
Okay. All right. Share screen. And share. All right. There you see it. So, I think yesterday it was said that some people will undoubtedly be 90 minutes late. We woke up this morning and we said, this is going to be a no stress launch. Sometimes we get a little wound up or whatever. So I said, we're not going to stress about anything. And so we actually got it up in the air at 10:30 our time, 90 minutes late. But it was super easy flight, landed in some soybeans, and I proved once again that I apparently cannot convert between degree decimals out in the field. I can it's in front of a computer, but I sure can't do it when I need it. So let's see here. The next one. Oh yeah, we stuck my daughter's dinosaur stick, and we like to use ball fields. Ball fields around.
So where'd you launch from?
I'll show you here. There'll be a map here in a second. And he goes up there, and this river on the right is the Mississippi River. So that's kind of neat. All right. The first thing. Yeah. That sun really. Yeah, fun. Let's see here. This is cool because this little bend, I don't think you can see it, but there's a bend in that river there, and that is St. Louis. That's where I live. And over here in the top left is the moon.
Mm-hmm.
The moon.
You know, small people or smart people that can write good subjects. Bill, I sure would like to see an actual paper I can understand on how the atmosphere magnifies the moon, because I just still, to this day, I can't comprehend it. Let's see. More moon pictures. Let's see. Oh, thought I had. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so this is the packets work perfectly. No problem at all. Here's the flight prediction. I think we kind of put a little extra in it, and we went up a little bit faster, so our actual is a little bit north, but ended. Oh, there's me in the and then a soybean field where right where you want it.
Did you have Roxy?
Yeah, that's
chasing?
not what ours looked like.
Well, it was kind of. I mean, it was green. That's all you
Well,
could see was green.
Oh, here's
Yeah.
Derek,
Let me-
did you have Roxy chasing with you?
Yep. And then here's here's the video here real quick. Gosh dang it. Going to get it. Boy, you're right. This is a lot harder to do when you're under the pressure.
If you're going to share a video, make sure to check the little box that says optimize for video. When you select the window, it's down at the bottom of the selection panel.
Yeah, I see that. We'll do that. Trying to find my video screen. It's, come on. It doesn't show it. Portion screen second. I'll do my screen and just do it. Share. All right. All right. Do you see it?
Yep.
We got it.
Okay. And I think.
That done being busy.
All right. So that's all I got.
The wind squawking almost sounded like a dinosaur.
Yeah. I wondered what a dinosaur sounded like. Yeah.
He's got a good grip on that little post.
All right. So whoever wants it now can have it. Paul?
That was awesome.
Hey, so we did the launch at 9 o'clock local time and launched about a minute late. Flew 50 to 60 miles. Haven't looked too closely at it yet. Landed in sagebrush on the desert south of the Boise airport. You know, plenty safe way out there. So easy to find. Only about 400 feet off the road. But boy, did the sage have a really strong smell. You could really smell the sage. I flew 2 cameras looking down at an angle. One was near infrared and the other one was a color camera. And then I flew a video camera horizontally to show the little logo I had for my 200th flight. So let me show real quick, share screen. I'll show the some of the infrared pictures here. So I need to do that, bring up a picture, and then shrink that down just a little bit so I can see. Okay, then share screen. And I want to look at this right here. Okay, can you see that one?
Not yet. There we go.
Okay, so near infrared, this is the video unit turned sideways. We hit high-speed winds around 70,000 feet or so, and things went a little chaotic. but you're looking down at the Snake River and at towns along the Snake River in this Treasure Valley of Idaho. Now in near infrared, green foliage is bright white. It reflects near infrared very strongly. So the white patches you see are not snow, but that's actually green grass or green crop. In this case, most of it's green crops. Water does not reflect near infrared unless you're looking at a direct reflection of sun, specular reflection. So I'll show you something about that a little bit later. But also you can see pretty well to the horizon because near infrared is not scattered by the atmosphere like blue light is. Infrared is too long of a wavelength, and the molecules of nitrogen and oxygen are literally, they're too small. They're invisible to infrared, so it goes straight through and doesn't scatter. So you're seeing the Snake River there, round patches for pivot irrigators. And you'll notice that some of the patches are brighter white than others. Those that are brighter white have more chlorophyll. So they're either healthier plants, they're older plants, they're greener plants. So that is one.
What camera do you use?
So I'm using a, it's a $100 camera I get from, let me think here just a moment. Do I can show you the camera. When I'm done here, I'll show you the camera. It doesn't say on the box. It's a $100 camera from, Infogram. I get it from Infogram. It's a sports camera. And the cameras, you buy them with the infrared blocking filter removed. And then I put a blue filter in front of it because the camera does come with a red filter. By putting a blue gel and having that red filter, you block out all the visible light. So all I can see is near infrared. So that's the way the camera works. And then I turned it on to black and white. I don't do color because the color is thrown off. So another example picture here, again, you're looking at the Snake River. And then I believe that's a reservoir in the upper left-hand corner, CJ Strike, I think, but I'll have to double check that. But again, you can see bright round patches and then not as bright white patches, and then streaks of color that isn't quite as white either. And that's going to be the difference between healthy, well-irrigated plants versus plants that are not as well-irrigated. This is where we're at is a desert out here. So some of that could be sagebrush and stuff like that, where maybe there was some water, but outside of that, we're desert. We're high desert out here. And then let's see. Okay, now this is looking along the Snake River, and this is the towns of Caldwell and Nampa. And in the center of them is the river or the lake that we have, Lake Lowell, and it's dammed, irrigation control. So the lake itself looks like an oily patch out there. You have a black oily patch out there. And then you can see towards the bottom of it, it's kind of an off-white gray, and then there's darker gray patches. Those darker gray patches they're desert. That's patches of desert. There's almost no irrigation in there whatsoever. Very little water out there. So we're seeing the difference between, well irrigated plants versus plants that are still green versus plants that it's desert. It's dry enough out there. They're not very green. This was the logo I sent out for Flight 200 with my patch, and this is just after burst. You see some fragments on the left side there. And then on the way down, things get chaotic, as you know. So this is just a couple seconds after burst, and we are completely upside down at this point. And then this one, looking almost up, we can see the parachute and the what's left of the balloon. A lot of the balloon came back and was really pretty badly twisted up. But there's a tracker behind the sign. You can see a little bit of it above the sign. So those are the pictures I got. And then I also sent up a drone. Let me turn on that camera here. And I got some footage of the liftoff. So let me pull some video down from and then the altitude we made is, the altitude was 98,300 feet, or about 5,000 feet lower than what I wanted. And tell it to my storage. Okay. And I'm going to start that video again. movie, and then it's this one here. Okay, we're good to go. Okay, so let me go ahead and do a screen share again. Oops. Go about 5 minutes in.
Hey, Paul, if you're going to share video, why don't you stop your video camera? Your video is a little choppy already, so I think you're having a bandwidth issue.
Oh no! Right now I'm just scrolling through the video to try to get to the balloon liftoff, so you don't have to watch all 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Hold on just a moment. Let me do a. Okay, and that's just okay. So now, okay, can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. We'll be taking off here in about 20 seconds or so. So the drone is up about 200 feet or so, looking down at us, slowly raising the balloon. And I'm trying to get the camera and get into position of what I think will be a good position to record the liftoff. And there we go.
Oh, neat.
And I set the drone up a higher altitude, but there's no way that I can keep up with that balloon. It's just. And then the last one I've got is video of the launch.
If you back away from that balloon a little bit, you won't have to follow the angle quite as quick.
That's what I tried to do. So the camera is looking down, and I tried to back up and back up and then lift up a bit. And since the balloon's going up about 1,000 feet per minute, it's tough to really keep up with that.
You need a faster drone.
Yeah, that might be it. Yeah. Make sure
I had a guy here that did a really impressive shot of my balloon going up a year or two ago. I don't know exactly what he did, but it was really impressive. He watched it and kind of followed it as it went off the horizon.
What I need to do is, so my camera's fixed. I need a camera that I can gimbal, and I've got a new drone. I haven't learned to use it yet, but that'll be next, is to gimbal that drone, that camera, so I can get some better footage of the liftoff.
Yeah, his was gimbaled, I can tell you that.
Okay.
And I think he was using like the glasses, the goggles, the first player.
Okay. Yeah, first person view. Yeah, and me, I'm on the ground looking up at the drone. It's an older drone and trying to guesstimate where to be at. So other than that, that's it. What I have is video of the balloon burst itself, but you saw the stills from that.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul. Does anybody else have anything they want to share?
Real quick, Paul, what size balloon did you use and what was your payload weight?
So I sent up a little over 3 pounds, had 7.5 pounds lift on a 1,200 gram K-Mont balloon. And predicted burst was 103,000, but we were about 5,000 feet lower. And we did have a little extra gas in the balloon, so that may account for some of it.
I just got home and I've got some of the video and stuff from the launch and the burst. And I can show the Raspberry Pi stuff. This is Mark's launch, so if anyone else wants to go for it, I'm still getting situated here.
So this is what the camera looks like.
Yeah, why don't you put that on Groups.io? I'd like to take a hard look at that.
Is that a Mobius? Is that a Mobius, Paul, or not?
That's it. Mobius. Thank you. Yeah, it's a Mobius.
Mobius action cam. Mm-hmm.
Yep, Mobius. That's right.
Great little cameras. You can also get a super cap if you don't want to keep the battery in it, if you got external power on it.
Okay. But that one, like I said, if you go to Infogram, and they do public, it's part of a public lab. They sell the cameras with the infrared lens removed or the infrared blocking filter removed, but you still want to put a blue filter on there because you'll let red and infrared in. Put the blue filter on, you'll stop the red from getting in, and only thing that gets in is infrared.
What are they asking for those there, Paul?
I bought these several years ago. They were $100.
Oh man, they want a lot because they're about 70, 80 bucks. I don't know what lens you get with it.
Now this is modified with the infrared filter, a blocking filter.
Yeah,
remover.
I go in and if I need to, I take the filter out myself. I don't have
I've done that once or twice before. And one time I had all the lenses fall out afterwards, so I stopped doing that.
Well, it's just a piece of film.
Mine was glass, and it was actually part of the lens system when I tried to do it. Yeah, and I think what happens is once I pulled it out, that spacer was gone, and then I lost my lens. Well, I mean, I had the lenses, but not the way they were supposed to be.
Shoe glue will fix it. It'll fix anything. It's like duct tape.
Oh, you converted a lens into a lens kit.
I think so. Yes. Yep. And it was rapid conversion. Okay, Zach, don't feel nervous. You're on.
I'm still getting situated. If anyone else has anything else, by all means, go for it.
This is Bruce here. I can show you 45 seconds of our launch here. Let's see.
By the way, our temperature here today is in the mid 90s. It's going to cool down tomorrow, but at least we have low humidity.
So did that work? Full screen?
Looks good. Looks like someone's walking his balloon.
I'm starved for entertainment here.
COVID makes us pretty desperate, doesn't it?
And I have no idea whether I was framed when I tried to.
So this is a small Mylar? Is that what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah, that's a 36-inch Mylar.
Okay.
And so you're running helium and did you say 25 gram payload?
That one's running hydrogen.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, about 25 grams.
With what kind of free lift?
I figure it's between 2 and 3 grams.
Okay. Well, it's
And you
doing
launched
great.
From where?
Pardon me?
You launched from where?
Oh, this is VA5 BNC from Saskatoon.
Okay, so you launched from Saskatoon. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Bruce, how many of these launches have you done before?
This is the second Pico launch. Our group has flown 30 traditional ones and once a GPSL. No, twice a GPS. I lost
I think
track.
twice.
Yeah. I know at least once.
At least once. So yeah, but this is just my second Pico.
And Bruce, you're doing good with that 2017 vintage balloon. Those generally are about 25% success rate, so you're in the 25%.
Yeah, I kind of, my heart was in my throat every time it lost, 10 meters between beacons, but I should stop watching it so closely. And it looks like by the telemetry, it's nearing Winnipeg and it's nearing sunset there. So I'm losing my solar.
Right. I lost mine here about an hour ago. I can still hear it beeping. When mine loses enough voltage to transmit on APRS, it still sends a beep every 15 seconds, and I'm hearing it beeping. It's about 110 miles from me right now.
Okay. Yeah. Once the battery gets down another 1/10 of a volt or so, it'll go into a nighttime mode where it still beacons, but once every 10 minutes.
You have a LiPo on that. That's part of the weight then, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a fair percentage of it.
What's the milliamp hour and the weight of the LiPo?
I'm not sure the weight. It's a 220 milliamp.
Oh, that's about 4 grams. I got a whole batch of those and I've flown those before. They're good up to about 28,000 feet, then it gets too cold for them.
Mm-hmm.
They work, if a lower altitude flight, you can fly those, but if you're going to be flying up where the higher balloons take you, they'll freeze out.
Yeah. So it's a super power saving mode that I run overnight. So it should make it through the night, and we'll see where it is in the morning. I think it's heading down into your country, down to the States.
A lot of them are heading to Alabama. I just did some tracks.
Yeah, so you may see it.
I had Steve Randall put a lot of our flights on, put high split buttons on the tracker.habhub.org. So if you click on your flight and you see a high split button, click on it and it'll give you your flight path prediction for the next day or two.
Yeah, I saw that, and that's great. And it looks like K7 HAK might be near Saskatoon overnight too. So I'll trade in balloons.
Yeah, we'll do a flyover, and then I'm hoping it kind of goes down, and maybe if it's gonna pop over the U.S., it'd be cool if it lands right close to Bill's house, because it's going that.
I have a balloon magnet that I turn on and I just suck them in over here.
That's your trees, isn't it, Bill?
What was that?
Your balloon magnet's in the trees, isn't
it? That's where they land. Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's what I told Harry on that
or the kudzu
on
line.
that one a couple of weeks ago. I asked, I think it was on the GPSL reflector. I asked if that was Bill's balloon. I said it was going to be in the trees.
Either trees or cornfields.
Yep.
How many of those picos are you tracking, Bill?
What's that now?
How many of those picos are you tracking right now, in average?
Okay. Well, all right. At the moment, the ones launched today, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Looks like 10 picos were launched. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 because Ted relaunched his. He recovered it and relaunched it. So, and there was 3 that probably put too much gas. I know K5NOT Mike said that he had trouble heat sealing the SBS 13 envelope because he didn't use the recommended heat sealer. He just found one that he had laying around and it would melt right through the filling nozzle. So he went right up to the balloon. He ran out of nozzle by the time he got to the point. So it probably leaked around there. It floated for about 30 minutes at about, at altitude, about 40-some thousand feet. It was working good, and then it's got a slow leak, and it landed. I had great signal on it here in Alabama and Whisper from Texas, and he got coverage all over the country on Whisper. W5HRH, I understand they put 10 grams of lift on an SBS 13, which is in the danger zone. It sometimes works and sometimes doesn't at that level. So anything over 8 grams is a little risky. And then Ted, he put 5 grams into of lift into a 36-inch Mylar, and the limit is about 3.5 to 4. So he went back and refilled it. It looks like he's not quite up to float altitude yet, but the ascent rate's looking pretty good. So I think he's going to achieve float. So
Derek,
we may end up with floaters tomorrow morning.
Derek, if you'll scroll back on the chat window, there's a link that has all the balloons that you can plug into APRS-FI. Or you can just click on it and it'll go right to APRS-FI in your browser. Are you seeing?
So there were 10 picos all over the country. And how many latex balloons, did we figure that out?
I think that means that there's 3. Was it only 3 latex balloons, or was it 4? I'm not sure anymore.
Well,
I thought we said 5, Bill. Didn't we count 5 at one time?
I think so.
Yeah. I don't know if they're all GPSL related, but I think we had 5 in the air today.
Well, we're not counting them.
We had Paul Bills, Arch Reactor, Mark, and EOSS. So that's 4, at least, of our latex balloons from our group, right?
So near space or near CIS, Idaho.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, near CIS. We had Mark, EOSS, Arch Reactor. So that's 4 latex balloons. 5 if you count the 2 balloons that EOSS inflated. Are they in here? I'm expecting a reply for that comment.
Marty's
Oh
on,
man,
but he
that
won't
was
unmute.
great.
If they don't fly, we don't count them.
Well,
That
we're
was a
all
pretty exciting
we're all
launch.
watching you, Marty.
Yeah, it's that. we had an interesting time. I don't know if anybody, if I'm on, am I on now or?
Yeah, we
Marty,
can hear
was
you.
that a calm day? What you call a calm day in Colorado?
You know, a calm day in Colorado is when you tie a log chain nail a log chain on top of a fence post, and you watch which way the log chain is blowing. That's a calm day, buddy. So well, yeah, we had winds today that really screwed us up and made it very hard to get the right fill. We popped one balloon, and fortunately these are only 1,500 gram balloons, but we popped one, and then our ace balloon meister in less than 8 minutes had another one filled up and ready to go. And somehow that one started dragging. So they pulled that one back and put more gas in it. And all this time, the wind, of course, was playing havoc with us. So in order to, of course, you guys know this better than I do, but in order to get the right fill, you can't have wind blowing over the top of the balloon. And that's what we had today. And so the third-ish launch of the second-ish balloon basically gave us some trouble also. And one of the people who were handling the balloon noticed as we were letting go, there was a small hole in the balloon itself. So we immediately said, well, okay, the thing to do now is reposition our trackers for a much shorter flight. And sure enough, we got up to about 10,000 feet, and we chose to cut it down right there. And the reason for that is the area we were in is heavily populated with oil fields and tremendous amount of high tension lines around there. So we felt that if we didn't cut it down, we'd be trolling for power lines, and decided that wasn't a good idea. So yeah, it came down because gravity that law has not been repealed yet. And it certainly did come down. And our guys walked about 3/4 mile out off of the road and picked it up. Everything was okay, but we certainly didn't get the results we were looking for. And we know better than this. This is high winds, and you know, during the eclipse we had high winds up there in Wyoming, and we just had a heck of a time getting the fill correct doing that. So,
well, regardless, it's EOSS 300, and that's quite an accomplishment if you count the first 299, including today's 300. But I just want to say congratulations to all of EOSS for not only, you know, doing the work you do in Colorado, but being a leader within the RHAB community around the world. It's really great to have people like you helping everybody else out.
well, we hope we contribute. There's, you know, Bill sets a pretty high mark for making contributions, but this particular flight, the cut down was a wireless cut down. The cutting mechanism is wirelessly connected to a APRS box, one of our APRS boxes on the system. And we send a command up there, and there's no wires connecting the cut down and that box. So it's a pretty magical piece of work there. We also, most of us who are running the new tracker system only got one packet, so tracking was kind of anticlimactic to say the least. But amazingly, our guys are right on top of it, watching it come down. And I don't want to cringe when I say this, but we had 16 tracking teams out today, and all of them managed to be very close to the balloon when it came down. So we were pretty pleased with that. Had a very nice 300th anniversary barbecue that was hosted by our president, Tom, and his wife, Denise. And did that in a hangar out of one of the small airports that we have out here. Had buffalo meat and potato salad and had a regular picnic. And had a nice celebration for number 300. It turns out that we also decided to tell a story about our very first launch. And I know you all got stories about that, but ours was kind of accidental. The launch wasn't so accidental as the recovery was, where three of us were leaning up against my truck watching it go up and go out of sight. And one, Bob Reagan, I don't know if you all remember him, he's down in Tennessee now, looked at me and he says, you know, I think maybe we ought to go chase that. Said to Bob, he says, well, what do we got to do, Bob? He says, well, first of all, he says, we're going to need a Yagi for that 2-meter stuff. And I said, well, I don't really have one. And Bob says, well, I do. And he went home from the launch site, climbed his tower, took his Yagi down, and brought it back to the launch site. And I think, wow, that's pretty decent. And off we went for our very first adventure. Now that adventure Bill Brown was on, he was in New Hampshire. Am I correct on that, Bill? It seems like you were in New Hampshire. We had a 10-meter beacon on it. Not sure why.
I was in the 73 magazine ham shack listening for the beacon on 10 meters because my beacon on 10 meters sent the temperature in Morse code. And it was about 50 milliwatts.
Yeah. So that's what kept us alive down on the ground. We were wondering if the thing was dead at the time, and so well, that's not the case. Bill keeps communicating with us that it's still alive. At that time, we got about halfway down the 150-mile downrange where this thing eventually landed, and we launched a double-engine aircraft. A couple of our members got on board that thing and started DFing from the airplane on 10 meters of all things. And we also had a 10-meter report from someplace in Washington, Bill. Do you remember that? Somebody also correlated. And of course, those two lines intersected badly, so we didn't get a good triangular effect between New Hampshire and Washington. But anyhow,
chase vehicles run into a ditch during that while they were listening and trying to find the beacon? Or was that another flight?
That might have been a flight. We've had those kinds of adventures. This one we learned about landed in one of Colorado's dry riverbeds. So it had banks on both sides of it and made it really hard to DF and even find the dumb thing. We didn't know what we were doing then either. And it still turned out to be a successful recovery out of the 300 that we've got so far. Our customer is Colorado University, and over the years, he has kind of kept track of how many students that we have supported over our 30 years. And turns that he declares that number to be 75,000 students, which we're pretty proud of. And every flight we fly, except one a year, we have a gaggle of students on board with us. And we're always happy to support those programs from Metro State University and all the space grant universities in Colorado. Anyhow, that's the story. We're going to stick to it. Most of us got home probably about an hour and a half ago, and after the party, of course. And all the payloads are safe and sound with Steve, K0SCC. He's looking them over, and Mark is pulling the data off of them. And there must be more to this story, and I'm sure there is, but why we let go of a balloon with a clear hole in it, I'm not really sure why that happened. But we'll need
If
to
it'll
talk.
make you feel any better, Marty, I've been there and done that. We launched a balloon, and as it was just leaving our hands, we saw the probably a dime-sized hole in the side of the balloon. I think that one we got from the place in Chicago. I think it may have been a Chinese balloon. I don't think it came from Totex. And that went up to 20,000 feet and came down very slowly and landed in a tree. We were watching when it landed, and we got it back, and sure enough, you could see that hole right in the side of the balloon. So we've been there.
Yep, good. We got one of those from, I believe, is that company, and they very, very nicely took a Sharpie and put a circle around it. We thought that was very polite of them. But yeah. And
Just in a little bit, guys. So we're trying to do mission recaps here, and I was wondering if anybody else had mission recaps. I'm happy to leave the room open for rag chews all night long if we want to. But I just want to check and see if anybody else had anything else for mission recap or sort of wrap up for GPSL, since we're a little over an hour here, and we didn't want to keep people who wanted to sort of be here to wrap up GPSL all night. So anybody else have anything they want to share? Zach, are you back and do you have your stuff together?
Yeah, I am. I had to switch over to the laptop, and I apparently burned up my camera dating long distance. So anyway, I have no camera. I have some of those here. And let me, I guess that's what I want to do. Share. Okay.
There we go.
Right. Here's those mark balloon here. Nothing real exciting there.
You might be sharing the wrong screen, Zach. We're seeing a WebMD page or something. There you go.
A WebMD page? Interesting. Okay. All right. So zoom going up. Real exciting there. And then I think, I'll show you this one. This was marked real similar. I think it was roughly 5,000 feet AL, but got some decent shots of it coming down. As the parachute glowed, it looked like the balloon coming back down. Just glow light. So that was that. I did. So here's the of it bursting, and it's not as exciting as I would hope. I'm kind of cropped in on just kind of the balloon over here, and I don't know how well this is going to share over Teams, but here it goes. It'll pop here in about 10 seconds or something like that. Had it on a tripod, so it's fairly stable. It was moving. Couldn't really perceive that from the ground, and then it just flat disappeared. So that was kind of cool. Never caught one of those. I've only seen, I think, this might be the second one I've actually seen, but it's the first one I've ever caught on video. I do have a telescope with an ASL rotator, electronic control rotator. I'm putting that back into the software to get a telescope to track the thing. But then I got thinking about tracking it right at the sun would be kind of problematic. But Mark, so those photos. Here is one of the more interesting ones. It has, I don't know, basically I did a date time stamp on it, and then the last 4 letters indicate what it was. And now for the life of me, I can't remember. These kind of the switches that that are being passed in. So this is like an auto exposure. I don't remember what the MMA stood for. I'd have to go look it up, but it's pretty crisp picture. It's a manual focus camera lens, and so you have to pre-focus it, which is a downside. But the plus side is you don't have to worry about focusing on an errant antenna or something else and ruining the shot.
Or it'll just
so you can
do it badly just because. What seems to happen to me.
Yeah, so when it hit the sun, it did some really interesting things. They're pretty cool. I don't know what this is. It totally did really bizarre things when it was pointed at the sun. But obviously that's not what the intent was. But anyway, you can see each one is a little bit different exposure, and that was me playing with the different settings. This is, I think, and this was, I'll have to look at the script to tell you what all they were. Here, this was ISO, I think 200 versus ISO 100. I think this is the sharp setting, doing a little bit extra sharp. This was brightness was turned up slightly, 50 is the midpoint, and turned it up to 60. Sharpness, I think 0 is the midpoint, and turned it up to 30. So I just playing with different settings, and I've got looks like I've got 1,800 photos that I've got to go through and figure out what it is that makes a good photo. But pretty. There's haze to the photo and still see a lot of the ground detail left in the photo even through the haze. So far I'm happy. I got to digest this a little bit further. The last photo I had, like I said, it's autofocus, and so it was autofocusing out to infinity, and so that's what we look like on the ground. How I felt like when I was on the ground. But our hero Mark does come to the rescue at the bottom somewhere down here, and all of a sudden we start seeing corn again. The last photo before the puke, let's see, apparently it shifted. So the last photo I think is this one. And this was the edge of the corn that we had to hike in about almost half a mile, and then we just missed the row of trees. This was some decent brush. I mean, it was a knee-high brush that we narrowly avoided. Looks like we would have had a nice, clear, open field if we'd gone over the side of the trees, but I'd rather not tangle with that river. So I think that's about all I had to show. Is there anything else we talked about earlier I was going to bring up? I think that was it. The pictures, though, when the lighting's all correct and the setting is correct, they look quite good, and they're quite sharp, looking in on here. So anyway, don't think I had anything else.
Hey everybody, I've got to run. I made a strategic error and promised Janelle I'd take her for an ice cream cone if she let me have 2 days of GPSL. I know, Marty, I'm not as smart as you. But anyway, I got to run. I want to just thank Mike and Mark for, like I said, making a left COVID turn, and really making what I thought was a tremendous GPSL 2020. So thanks to you guys. It's great to see all my old friends. It's great to meet a few virtual friends today and yesterday. And I'm really looking forward to getting back face to face and tipping a drink to everybody and staying up too late and doing all the things that we know how to do. So thanks to everybody. Have a safe year, and we hope to see everybody in Indiana.
All right, thanks, Mike. Go have some ice cream for me.
See you, Mike.
Will do.
Take care, Mike.
Yes, Mike. We look forward to seeing you in Indiana. And once again, I'm going to voice this has been a fantastic GPSL 2020 given the circumstance. And it was almost like being there in person and being able to coordinate 17, 15, 16, 17 launches all across the country was just a phenomenal feat and very exciting. If you look at the HabHub map right now, the whole country is plastered with balloons from GPSL. It's just an incredible sight. The only time I've seen it quite like that was during the total eclipse of the sun. So we just about rivaled that today. So, but congratulations to Mark and Mike for making this all come together via Zoom and coordinating everything, because it really turned out great. And also congratulations to EOSS on their flight number 300. That's an amazing feat and an inspiration to thousands of students. What did you say, 70,000 students, Marty? That's unbelievable. That's just imagine how many students have been inspired to go into aerospace industries due to the EOSS educational flights that they've been coordinating with. So, and congratulations to Paul on your flight number 200. So once again, and Marty, I sent you a little private email about when we were chasing buffaloes in the Buffalo Ranch during GPSL that one year. We had a lot of fun with that. And then, of course, I managed to find the only cornfield in Colorado during one of those GPSLs too. So I'm 100% for landing in cornfields and trees.
Hey, Bill.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Appreciate all the kind words. And, you know, it was disappointing to not to be able to get together in person, but I think, you know, necessity being the mother of invention, and, you know, putting together stuff here with Zoom so we can get more folks to participate remotely. You know, that certainly has inspired us to continue this sort of thing for the future and be able to bring people together, you know, virtually if they're not able to travel to a super launch site in the future. So we'll certainly make this part of our kind of default planning for the future, so that so more people can get together and ask questions and learn different things along the way here. So I will say one thing: I was not exactly looking forward to figuring out how to transport 8, 10, 12 hydrogen cylinders. And that's one thing that doing it this way made it a lot easier, is all I had to do was haul 2 and I only used 1. So kind of push the logistics burden onto other people. But again, I want to say thanks to everyone, and especially all the kind words. And I really enjoyed having the international speakers that really added a lot of flavor to this thing over, you know, to see how this sort of thing is done in other countries and some of the challenges that they face, both regulation and, you know, just dealing with the balloon flights themselves. It's not quite as easy as it is here in Iron, Nebraska. You can launch from about anywhere, and, you know, 98% of the time you're going to hit cropland. Other folks don't have it that easy. So again, thanks to everyone. I think I'm going to sign off for the evening. I believe Mike is planning to leave this active, and anyone who wants to sit and visit for a while is more than welcome to.
And Ted, did you have a photo of your recovery and relaunch?
I still haven't had a chance to get to that yet. I tried to use that email to subscribe to the group, and it came back as some kind of malformed error. So I don't know. I'll send you a separate note on that, Bill. But it sounds like folks are signing off. I did want to mention, I don't know if you guys know of what's coming up with the U.S. Department of Education. They're going to be announcing something called the Cubesat Challenge in August.
Today.
And they're going to need some folks to probably guide them through those design processes and test flights. High altitude balloons are a great way to do it. We do high powered rockets too, but 6-inch airframe gets kind of big, and the balloons are a little easier to manage. So once I find a way to get into that group, I'll post that. U.S. Department of Education. We're going to do it in spring, but they moved it to sounds like August, so next month. And the students, career and technical education high schools. About 2,500 schools in our country qualify for this program. And the DOE is going to work with these educators in making sure the students go through design thinking, building essentially a simulated satellite or a prototype or a flat sat, do some ground trials in preparation of maybe getting something with Alana or some other program NASA has to get them actually in orbit, which would be kind of cool. So I thought I'd mention that here as you guys round it up. I apologize. I wanted to spend a lot more time in the video. I spent most of my time driving to get a failed balloon. That's my fault. But I heard a little bit about the gentleman after me with the no IR camera. Really excited about the results that you got there. Beautiful imagery. Wow, it looked like it came off a NASA payload. I want to try to get some of our students to try that. So it's always exciting. I imagine there's a lot more that I missed. So if this is recorded, I imagine I'll find a copy of it somewhere and I'll go through and listen to all the knowledge you guys shared today and yesterday. So
well, that was a nice segue, Ted, to let people know. I did manage to capture all of the sessions yesterday, and I've got about a gigabyte of video that we're going to have to chop up into separate YouTube presentations. So we're going to put them all up as separate YouTubes on the, I guess, I don't know if we have a GPSL YouTube page yet or we're going to have one, but we'll take care of that. Also, a reminder to anybody who presented, make sure you send your presentation to Mark, because we would also like to make those available to anybody who wants to see them after the fact. So yeah, we'll have that as well as this section of the sort of RAG2 day, our recap and some of the launch moments as well. So we'll put all that up. So I'm going to be bailing out of here as well shortly, but I'm going to leave the room open for RAG2, and when I come back and find my computer, there's nobody in here, I'll close it down. But thanks everybody for coming to GPSL, and this was awesome. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mark, very much. We really do.
Thanks, Mike.
Masterful job, masterful.
Yeah. Yep. There is a GPSL video channel, I believe. I'm not sure if it's labeled GPSL or Great Plains Super Launch, but it's basically where the last year's sessions were posted. And oh, Mike's off getting ice cream. Yeah. So we'll get that. We'll get where it is out to everybody on the email list and otherwise. And so after we get those videos edited, they will be posted to YouTube, and hopefully have that done here in about a week or so. So we got to get the raw video to Jim, and then he's going to edit it and get uploaded, and then we'll be good to go at that point.
Oh, and Ted, take a look in the chat.
I'll get that cross link.
Signing up for GPSL.
I'm sorry, what about signing up?
Take a look in the chat window. Mark put an update about how to get signed up for the mail list if you're having trouble.
Copy.
I have a question, Mike. The launch videos in the morning, are you going to also put that on YouTube? Because I only had one person filming me, and he was just streaming the video to you all, so I have no photos of my launch. So there were just the two of us.
Yeah,
I would love to see that.
What I'd like to do is capture, about a half an hour before and after the official launch time, because that's when we had sort of the most activity with people throwing stuff in the air. So we'll try to make that one thing, and then this recap session another thing.
And are the launches going to be just little inset windows, or will they be bigger do you have a way of viewing them in a bigger format?
Unfortunately, I took a brief look at the video last night, and it's basically the gallery view of everything. So people who did individual launches and just shared it out, it's going to be, you know, the little window, and that's all we've got, unless somebody did a screen share at the time. And I think EOSS did that. They actually opened up and did a screen share, I think. I don't remember. But everybody else was just in a small window.
So did anybody pin videos to see a particular launch and took any screenshots or videos of that? If they did, of mine in particular, I would love to see a couple shots, like, because otherwise I don't have any record of it. So it's kind of hard to get a big gathering with all the COVID concerns. But my neighbor, WB4 VHF, was kind enough to come over and be my cameraman today.
Hey, Derek, did you get the link to the APRS-FI stations for all the balloons?
I didn't. I didn't see it in the chat.
You didn't? I'll copy it and paste it and repost it, and because it's still in my chat window, and then that way you can go in there and get it.
Thank you, Harry.
Yep.
Is Paul still out there? He apparently has left.
I don't see him. I think we set a record for number of balloons at a GPSL.
Yeah, I think so too. Who's our official sponsor next year?
Brian Tanner at Spaceport Exploration Center in Flora. Actually, I'm trying to think whether it's Flora or nearby Delphi, maybe. Delphi, Indiana. It's near Lafayette and Purdue. So it'd be close for some of you and very far for others.
You know what Brian's? Do you know what Brian's call sign is?
He does not have a call sign yet, so I'm working on him to get one. He absolutely, it's required that he has to have one by next year, if not in the next month. I actually
about Paul having a radio in his car for all those years too. Remember?
Yes. So basically, I've heard that some of the volunteer exams are done online now. FCC has approved some of that, and he'll probably want to look into that. He has studied for the license and he's ready to take the exam. He just needs to find a way to take the test now. So.
And his name is Brian.
Brian Tanner, yeah, he's the director of Spaceport Exploration Center, also called Spaceport Indiana. I've worked with him for many years on a variety of projects, space related in education.
Cool. Looking forward to this.
So I got in a little late, and I apologize that, but was Paul's 200th successful?
Yes.
Yep.
Good to hear.
And yours was too. A balloon that goes up and comes down and recovered is a successful flight.
Well, they got the lowest flight, 5,000 feet.
Actually, you went to 10,000, didn't you? But it's 5,000 feet above average.
Yeah, 5,000 AGL. So you got the low flight award, Marty.
Well, I'm going to have to duck out here. I hear supper's being cooked upstairs, so if I don't go now, I won't get any. Had a blast. This was we knew we weren't going to be able to make it down there this year, so this is as good as it gets when you
have